Today we're going to get into step 2 of our groundwork session that we do of the basics. I'm going to go over on how I want my mule's feet to move, how I want the front feet to look, and how I want the back feet to move. Next thing I'm going to go cover also is position of my lead rope. That makes a big difference. As you watch in step 1, I was talking about the step, how that position of your lead rope really has a big deal in it, so they can feel on where to move. Another thing to watch for is the bend in the neck. And again, I want slack in my lead rope also doing this as I'm going to the hindquarters. Usually I go from step 1 straight into step 2 and then step 3 and come back around and move the front end. But I'll be showing more on the hindquarters. I'll do a little bit of step 1. I'm not going to talk much about it. So I'm going to go right into step 2. So I'm going to show you as we're going here to my right. I'm going to ask her to move that way, get into step 1. I'm going to go directly into step 2. And I'll show my lead rope. First things first, what I usually do, and there's different ways you can do this, but this is the way I'm doing it. I can show you, I guess, if you have problems with doing this, it takes a little more hand coordination. So my hand is right now on the lead rope as it would be for step 1. When I go into step 2, my flag goes over top of my lead rope and my hands switch. The flag goes into my right hand and my lead rope goes in my left hand. When I'm doing this, this would be step 1, go in this direction. And when I go to step 2, I switch my hands and I slide down on the lead rope about a foot, and then I walk toward her hindquarters. So when I'm doing this, you kind of keep an eye on that. So I'm going to ask her to go in step 1 here. And the goal is I want her hind feet to step across from each other. The inside foot that's closest to me, I want it stepping in front and across the outside foot. So I'm sliding down on my lead rope, and I'm walking toward her tail. If you see her hind feet moving, they're stepping across in the back. Her front feet are not steady in one place. I want that shoulder to be free also, and she has a nice bend, and she has slack in my lead rope. So there's a lot of different things to look for, and the more you get along, the more things you're going to notice and be able to see it. But it's a ton of things to look for in one thing. And like I said in my first video, like each step has about 10 steps almost to look for. You want slack in your lead rope. Where do you want your hands at? How you want the front feet to move? How you want the hind feet to move? There's so many things to look for. So, but the basics of basics is what I'm going to teach you here. So I'm going to get her going again. And as I'm coming around here, watch my hands. Slide down the lead rope about a foot. Then I start walking toward her hindquarters, toward her tail. There she's not moving as much hind as I want. There she's stepping over really nice, and then I stop. And when you stop, you just wait for her to stop. She's a little bit at the angle toward me right now. That's okay for me, but I don't want her butt to be stopping. As soon as instantly when I stop, I want her to face up to me. So she's not allowed to just put me in this position. That tells me her hindquarters aren't fluid enough. So you want more. So I'm going in the other direction. And for me, this is probably the biggest buildup to going into the saddle as far as having an emergency stop. Doing like you guys probably heard already, the one rein stop. That's what I rely on. My colts, a mule that wants to run away from me or run off with me on top is going to the one rein stop. And the only way the one rein stop works, if you're doing your groundwork and you practice and practice and practice like your life depends on it in the saddle. If you don't practice it, it will not work. You have to practice it like your life depends on it. So that's the only thing with the hindquarters. You're going to have to practice it and get good at it to have it work. So I'm showing here again, going to the hindquarters. As I'm coming around, I'll be explaining what I'm looking for. As I'm walking here, switching my hands. About when I switch my hands is when I start walking toward her tail. If you look like toward her tail, that's where I'm wanting to go at. And with why I want my flag on top of my lead rope is, let's say, and she's not this way, but let's say I'm back here, and I'm going to try and get her to stand still here. She knows what's coming. Let's try this. There we go. So if I'm back here and she stands still, let's say she wouldn't want to move. I'm not going to bump her nose around to make her move. If you're doing that, you're creating brace through her body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my flag and ask her to move that hind quarter nice and fluid. So the flag is there if they get sticky. Another thing to watch is what will happen if your mule's really stiff to start with. What they'll do, they'll almost step into you with the front end, kind of step into you, and it seems like they're always pushing on you. When that happens, you need to add more flag. Ask her to go. And then what happens if you ask more with your flag and put more pressure on it, she's going to pull on you with your lead rope. The next step better is that this foot sticks in the ground. That's probably the next step what's going to happen. This foot's going to stick in the ground, and she's not going to feel like she's pushing on you quite as much. Still with that, I probably add a little flag, a little pressure toward her butt. That will increase energy going forward, so that will get this front end moving a little bit. And again, she's going to pull on you with the halter. Every time she tightens up that lead rope, I do a slight bump on her nose. The next thing, she will actually move her front end a little out and away from the circle. If I'm asking her right now to move her hind quarters with my flag, I'm not in position. Yep, stand still. She's already thinking about getting out of the way. I'm going to ask her to move her hind quarters over. In fact, to do that, she'll have to step out with her foot. I don't know if you've seen that in video. She stepped over and out, but her hind quarter was moving more than her front. Her hind quarters had to move from here all the way to there. Her front end moved from here to here. So that's how I measure if I'm getting more on the hind end. It's a little confusing if I want my front end to move. But I want that shoulder not to brace. I want it nice and free also. So that's kind of in the detail what I'm looking for. She's doing really good for us. Like I said, I'll have some more mules come into training here that will be working on this, and I'll be showing, it might be a little more extension video of getting it. So you go with your lead rope, switch your hands, start walking, slide down the lead rope about a foot and start walking toward her tail, and she'll move her hind quarters over. If she wouldn't, I use the flag. And again, something to remember, I want her facing up to me when I'm done. And I'll just get her to stop if I stop moving my feet. Hopefully that explains a little bit on the hind quarter end of it. If you have questions, please comment below. We'll try to answer and maybe do videos if you have any suggestions. So that's all I have for today, and thank you for watching.